It's time again for the Science Bowl.
Zoo Parade for 5. What big teeth the hippo has are actually a pair of these. Science Potpourri for 10. Would a snake most likely eat every day? Every week, Dateline Science for 10. Why are some elephants wearing necklaces these days? Green things for 15.
And now, here's your host, Mr. Z himself, Dave Zarin.
Thank you and welcome to the Science Bowl, the science quiz program here in the Prince George's Schools where we test science IQs. Thanks for joining us today. Hope you have a good time and play along with us. Let's meet today's teams. First, we welcome from Capitol Heights Elementary, Solomon Rubin, Isabel Owaga, and Sawyer Rice. And from Phyllis E. Williams, say hello please to Chase Gibson, Mackenzie Hampton, and Alistair Alkiza. And now here are the categories of questions we use on the Science Bowl.
Okay, Mr. Z, here's today's categories. Green things, questions about plants and all things green and growing. Zoo Parade, a Noah's Ark of questions about animals. Body systems, we'll see how much you know about yourself, about things like breathing and growing and digesting your food. Let's get physical. Questions that test your knowledge of physics and chemistry, earth science and space science. Then there's Science Potpourri. Here's a grab bag of science questions, everything from air pollution to the kitchen sink. And finally, Dateline Science. We'll ask you about science history and science in the news.
And here on the Science Bowl, we arrange our game board according to question difficulty with easier questions on the left. They're worth 5 and 10 points. The tougher ones worth 15, 20, and ultimately 25, the toughest of them all. Both of our teams start out at 50 points apiece. No penalties ever for incorrect answers. And at the end of the 2 rounds, one of these 2 good-looking teams will come back to play our game again and perhaps become the third of our 4 semifinalists as we get closer and closer to this year's elementary school championship. Let's make sure everything works properly before we start. Isabel, would you try your buzzer for me? It looks and sounds good. Good luck to you and to Solomon and to Sawyer. And Mackenzie, how about the green teams? It is also A-OK. Good luck to you and to Chase and to Alistair. And I have to tell you, we're very proud of you for making it this far in our competition. Capitol Heights, you got a bye in the first round because you did so well last year. P.E. Williams, you've won twice already this year, so I know we're going to have a good game. We go alphabetically. C comes before P, so Capitol Heights and Isabel, start the game for us.
Can I have the Dateline Science for 15 points?
Dateline Science for 15 to start our game. Teams, it was Louis Pasteur, the famous French scientist, who disproved Aristotle's contention that living things can come out of rotten meat. Something back then that was called spontaneous what? Capitol Heights.
Production.
Again?
Production.
Not production. Good try. If life comes from rotten meat, we know that's not true, but some people believe that Pasteur disproved it. It was known as spontaneous what?
Parasites. Parasites?
Spontaneous generation. Spontaneous generation. Something coming from nothing. No, flies had to lay their eggs before those maggots came out of that rotten meat. They didn't come out all by themselves. Go again, Red.
Can I have Science Potpourri for 15 points?
Potpourri for 15 points is a multiple choice question for you. Pangea, P-A-N-G-E-A. Is it a disease spread by insects, a kind of bird threatened with extinction in Hawaii, or the supercontinents that all came together as one? Capitol Heights.
The supercontinents that all came
Yes,
together as
ma'am.
one.
Yes, they fit together like pieces of a jigsaw puzzle. Well done. All right, you're on the board. Go.
Let's get physical for 15 points.
15 and let's get physical teams. The Hubble Space Telescope looked out into the heavens, could detect visible light and ultraviolet. But the Spitzer telescope that just quit working after 16 years used this kind of radiation that we equate with heat. Yes, P.E. Williams.
Infrared.
Infrared, yes ma'am. Good answer, go, green.
Body systems for 20.
Body systems for 20 points. Teams, your question is as follows. Listen, this letter vitamin, which you need to help your blood coagulate, has what same letter as the symbol for potassium on the periodic table. What same letter? Capitol Heights.
K.
K, that's it. Good answer. Go red.
Body systems for 15 points.
Body systems for 15. Teams, a pulmonologist will tell you this is the only one of your body's organs that will float. P.E. Williams.
Lungs.
Your lungs, that's right. Alistair, he was right on that. All those air sacs in there, that gives it buoyancy. Nicely done. 80 to 85. We got a good game going here. Go, Green.
Green things for 20.
Green things for 20 points. Multiple choice question, teams. I'm going to give you a word and I'll define part of it for you. Rocks that are lithophilous. Litho is L-I-T-H-O. That's the prefix. Philus means to love. Lithophilous rocks love to grow on rocks, in lakes, or high in trees. Green thinks they know.
Trees.
Not trees. Lithophilous rocks. L-I-T-H-O followed by a prefix, a suffix rather, that means to love. Do they love to grow on rocks, in lakes, or high in trees?
In lakes.
On rocks, because litho means ground, like the lithosphere, different from the atmosphere or the hydrosphere. Go again, Green. No points.
Science potpourri for 20.
Potpourri for 20 points. There's a commercial on television that spoofs spelling bees. And this poor little girl, she has to spell a word that appears on the side of foods, ingredients, stuff that's been processed. And she said, "You want me to spell methyl cellulose? What is that?" Well, I'm going to spot you cellulose. Cellulose is C-E-L-L-U-O-S-E. I'm going to give you these points if you can spell methyl. The prefix methyl is in methyl cellulose. All right, Capitol Heights. Who's going to spell?
Solomon.
Okay, Solomon, nice and loud. Let's hear you.
Methyl.
Methyl.
Methyl. M-E-T-H-O-L.
Ooh, good try, good try. P.E. Williams, methyl cellulose. Cellulose is C-E-L-L-U-L-O-S-E. Spell the prefix methyl. Who's going to be my speller? Okay, Chase, give it a go.
M-E-T-H-O-U-L.
Good. Oh, you came close. M-E-T-H-Y-L. That's it. Methyl. Methyl. M-E-T-H-Y-L. No points. Go again. Green.
Green things for 15.
Green things for 15 points. You'll laugh at this. There are some carnivorous plants that they don't get enough just by eating insects. So they invite bats and other rodents to use their flower as a toilet. So they go, yes?
Roots.
What's that?
Roots.
Not roots, no. Capitol Heights, these carnivorous plants, some of them act as toilets. They invite animals to come and they poop inside, like bats that spend the day there. And because of that poop, the plants get nutrients they otherwise wouldn't, like the chemicals N and P. N and P stand for what chemicals?
Nitrogen peroxide.
Good try. Nitrogen was one. Sawyer, I heard you say nitrogen. The P stands for phosphorus. Phosphorus. No points. Go again. Green. Oh, the buzzer says we're not going anywhere quite yet. We have a good game. Right now, Capitol Heights is at 85. P.E. Williams is at 80. And we'll be back with round two in just a moment. Don't go away. And welcome back to Science Bowl. Two great teams here today, Capitol Heights and P.E. Williams, hoping for the chance to move on in our competition, hoping to become one of the Final Four in this year's competition. Started with 40 elementary schools. We're almost on to those Final Four. Let's meet the teams. If you didn't see these students here before, you get the pleasure now. But Capitol Heights, this is your first appearance this year. You got a bye because your team did so well last year. Isabel, you can put your buzzer down for a few moments there. Just take it easy. I just want to ask you about yourself and about your school. Tell me about your school. Who's your principal?
Our principal is Miss Lattimore.
Yeah, she's a wonderful principal. I've been over to Capitol Heights many times. I know you do Men Make a Difference Day and Women Make a Difference Day, and you always do it upright. Tell me who the alternates on your team are. Just their first names.
Our alternates are Kennedy, Owen, and Ezra.
Wonderful. We'll bring them out in a few moments because they are an important part of this team. They're in the other room. They're yelling the answers, but we can't hear them here in the studio. And your sponsor is the wonderful Daisy and Yaga, and she is out there. And Daisy, thank you for all that you've done, and thank you for the nice treats you brought for the judges too. We appreciate your endorsement and your support here. Tell me something about Capitol Heights that you think everybody should know, Isabel. Something special.
Something special about Capitol Heights is that we're in art integration school. So we like integrate art into like our lessons. For example, in like our reading class, what our teacher does is sometimes she'll let us like break a song down into like, for example, we might be doing plot or something else. So that's what I like about Capitol.
In fact, I think I've seen that in action over there. I mean, you can bring art into science, you can bring art into math, so it's a great prism for just about anything you want to learn. Thanks for sharing that with us. What do you want to do someday, Isabel?
I want to become a biomedical scientist.
Yeah, well, you're a serious-minded young lady, I can tell, and you're going to be successful whatever you choose. Keep up your good work here. You're a good captain. Sawyer, tell us about yourself. Why did you want to do this?
My friend got recommended for it,
Yeah.
and he told me that was fun, so I decided to try it out.
Are you having fun yet?
Mm-hmm.
Good. We enjoy having you here today. And what do you want to do someday?
I want to be a microbiologist.
Yeah. And I asked you earlier if you had your own microscope. You said not yet, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So if there's anybody out there with a spare microscope, this guy, I'm sure you can make good use of it. What do you do in your spare time, Sawyer?
I like to read and play video games.
Wonderful. You sound like a normal guy out there doing all the good kid stuff. How about you, Solomon? Do you like to read?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, and you want to be a basketball player, don't you?
Yes.
This young man was here last year with us. He distinguished himself. If you could have a dream come true, what NBA team would you play for?
It doesn't really matter to me as long as I get the opportunity to play for a team. It doesn't really matter.
What a nice idea. Yeah, absolutely right. Because to get on any team is what a treat. So few people ever make it to that level. But you don't just hope to be a basketball player. You're looking farther ahead. Tell us about that.
I also want to be a robotics engineer after my career is over.
Yeah, that's very smart. Yeah, because you can't be a basketball player into your 50s.
Yeah.
Well, some people maybe can, but most people cannot. Nice to have you back again. P.E. Williams, Phyllis E. Williams, nice to have you guys here for the third time this year. Mackenzie, y'all look kind of relaxed because you've been through this before, right? How do you prepare for this, Mackenzie?
We just watch a whole bunch of Science Bowl shows, and we have some of the questions, so we can practice like that.
Well, you've obviously been doing a good job because you're playing a good game today as you have in the past. Now, Phyllis E. Williams, principal there is?
Dr. Barone.
Wonderful. Out there, I'm very much supporting you, and I know the coach of your team, Ms. Lamond, she's been associated. Wendy, thank you for all your years of support here on Science Bowl. It's great to see your team making it this far in the competition. And any alternates on your team, Mackenzie, can you give me their first names?
Joy and Olive.
Wonderful. We'll bring them out because I know they want to get some FaceTime too. They trained with you guys. Something about P.E. Williams. Are you an immersion school?
Yes.
Tell us about that.
It's a Spanish immersion school, so my class, we were the first ones to be in the Spanish immersion, so in the kindergarten, so all the classes behind us, they're in Spanish too.
Wow. So all of your classes are in Spanish. That's wonderful. So you will be fluent in that. What a great skill that is when you get out into the world, because there are a lot of Spanish speakers in this country here. It's a very smart move on your part. What do you hope to do someday, Mackenzie?
I want to be an animator.
Yeah. We were talking about Toy Story 4. Do you have any favorite animated movies?
No, I really like all of them.
Yeah. I like Zootopia. Did you ever see Zootopia? That was kind of clever. Yeah. Chase, tell us the Chase story. What do you do in your spare time?
I like to read and sleep.
Yeah, we were talking about that before. What makes for a good sleeper? Do you go to bed at a certain time? Do you take a glass of milk? Or are you just naturally someone who goes out cold?
I just sit awake for a couple of minutes until I fall asleep.
Very good. All right. You don't count sheep, do you? That used to be something they told people to do. What do you hope to do someday professionally?
I hope to be an inventor.
An inventor?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I was going to ask you if you wanted to share some ideas, but you don't want people copying your ideas. You know, you want to make sure that you get the credit for coming up with the next best thing, the thing that the world will be a path to your door for. Invent a better mousetrap, and they'll do that. Alistair, nice to have you here today. I know you were here last time. You did a great job, and I know you love science, and you study it, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you're well prepared to do this. What do you hope to do someday?
I want to become an engineer at NASA.
Wow, they'd be lucky to get you, because I'm sure if you're a good science student, oftentimes you're a good math student as well. What do you do in your spare time?
I like to play video games, play sports, and like I said, I like to study science.
Yeah. What sports do you like?
Karate, soccer, and I guess sometimes I'll watch basketball.
That's great. And you are a green belt in karate, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you looked down there. I thought maybe you had it on today. All right, guys, let's get back into the game. You ready to do this again? Are you a little bit more relaxed? Isabel still looks a little like, I'm not sure about this. You're doing a nice job. And Sawyer and Solomon, you help her out in this next half, okay? Here we go. 85 for Capitol Heights and P.E. Williams 80. Last correct answer came from the green team. So, Mackenzie, you start us out.
Zoo parade for 20.
Zoo parade for 20 points. Teams, your question is as follows. There is an elephant on the coat of arms of an African country because this substance that the tusks are made of is in the country's name. Capitol Heights.
Ivory.
That's right, the Ivory Coast, Côte d'Ivoire, next to the Gold Coast, right there in West Africa. Good answer. Go, Red.
Zoo parade for 15 points.
Zoo parade for 15. Teams, when bees return to the honey after foraging out there, they bring back something, they regurgitate it into little honey pots, and if it's really syrupy, it's hard for them to regurgitate it. What do they bring back? Isabel?
Nectar.
Nectar, exactly right. Yeah, they prefer thinner nectar, but the thicker nectar has more energy, but it actually makes it hard for them even to fly because thicker nectar is syrupy and it's heavier. Go, Red.
Dateline science for 20 points.
Dateline Science 420. All right, teams, here's your question. Some of you may remember the story of Mount Vesuvius. It erupted and there was a town of Pompeii, and the ash came down and people died in motion. They couldn't get away. Well, they recently discovered that the brains of some of those people that perished had vitrified, meaning they hadn't turned to stone, but rather they turned into this substance that's made mostly of sand, and if you drop it, Capitol Heights,
Ash.
not ash, P.E. Williams, the brains had vitrified, meaning they hadn't turned to stone, but rather they had turned to this substance, mostly made of sand, a substance that shatters oftentimes if you drop it.
Glass.
Glass. Their brains had turned to glass. Go, Green.
Green things for 25.
Green things for 25. The big one in that category, teams, for a long time, millions of years, the only plants here on Earth were gymnosperms, a word that means naked seeds because they produce cones. But then along came these A-initialed plants that produce flowers, and they had the seeds inside of the flowers. What are the A-initialed plants that flower called? The opposite of gymnosperms. Angiosperms is the right answer there. Go, Green.
Body systems for 25.
Body systems for 25 points. Teams, we human beings can stand up like this. Chimps and apes can't. That's because what butt muscle do we have that's stronger? P.E. Williams.
Gluteus maximus.
You got that right, the gluteus maximus, the glutes. Sometimes you can butt dial with those things. That's how strong they are. Go, Green.
Let's get physical for 20.
Let's get physical for 20 points. All right, teams. I like this question. This category, let's get physical, we announced at the beginning of the show, this is physics, chemistry, earth science, and space science. Earth science and space science are normally called what two sciences? Earth science and space science, normally called what? All right, good question. 2 parts. Capitol Heights, you guys should be talking among yourselves in case I have to come to you if you have any idea. Earth science is known as this. Space science is known as this. P.E. Williams, what do you think?
Geology and astronomy.
You got them both. Nicely done. I could see that brain power working over there. Go, Green.
Science potpourri for 25.
Potpourri for 25, the big one in that category. Teams, a lot of dog food today is advertised as containing no GMOs. O's stands for organisms. The GMs, what was not done to that dog food? GM, Isabel.
It wasn't genetically modified.
You got that right, exactly. Nicely done, nicely done. Go, Red.
Zoo parade for 25 points.
Zoo parade for 25. Look at the monitor in the studio, if you would, please. You wouldn't think it, but this is a giant panda. It's an albino, very rare. You can see him in China there. His eyes are pink, as are all albino animals. They all have pink eyes because there is no pigment in the iris, and what you're seeing is looking straight through the eye to this layer that contains the rods and the cones. Capital Heights.
The retina.
The retina. You're looking at the retina. Nicely done. Thanks, Sawyer, for your help on that. Go red.
Let's get physical for 25 points.
The big one in that category is a visual question. Look at the monitor, if you would, please. Teams, our Earth today is like a giant egg that is cracked, and all the cracks are fault lines, and you see them there. And when those fault lines rub against each other, they cause earthquakes and volcanoes. This was determined in 1960. They call it plate tectonics. I will give you 25 points if you can spell tectonics.
Pass to
25 points for tectonics. Yes, Capital Heights?
Pass to Solomon.
Solomon, say the word for me, please.
Tectonics.
One more time.
Tectonics.
Yes, sir. Go.
Tectonics.
You got it. Nicely done, Solomon. Go red.
Dateline science for 25 points.
Dateline science for 25. The big one in that category, teams, is as follows. You know, the coronavirus is spreading across the world. Right now, it's mostly in China. It's called an epidemic. But if it spreads across the world, it is known as this, Capital Heights.
A pandemic.
A pandemic, yes, indeed. It is close to that already. Go.
Dateline science for 10 points.
Dateline science for 10. Teams, your question is as follows here. You know, human history has been divided into ages. There was the Stone Age, then there was the Iron Age, and between the two there was an age named for this alloy of copper and tin, an alloy that is the third metal given in the Olympics.
Bronze.
Capital Heights.
Bronze.
Bronze, the Bronze Age. Yes, go red.
Science potpourri for 10 points.
Science potpourri for 10. All right, teams. You all know what a horseshoe crab is? Its scientific name is Polyphemus. Polyphemus was a cyclops because people thought that a horseshoe crab had only what? P.E. Williams?
One eye.
One eye, absolutely right. Good. Thank you, Alistair. Go. P.E. Williams.
Body systems for 10.
Body systems for 10 points. It was discovered that people living in the Antarctic at a science station for over a year saw the hippocampus in their bodies start to deteriorate. The hippocampus is part of what organ? Yes, Capital Heights?
The brain.
The brain, yes, the part involved with memory and navigation. Well done, Isabel. Go.
Let's get physical for 10 points.
Physical for 10 points. Teams, a catapult, which on the day after Halloween people like to use to go chucking old pumpkins, has a pivot, an effort, and a load, and it is what kind of simple machine? Yes, ma'am.
A lever.
It is a lever. Yes, indeed. It's a first-class lever. Thank you, Solomon. Go.
Green things for 10 points.
Green things for 10 points. Teams, what same word means an arm or a leg or the branch of a tree? Yes.
A limb.
A limb is right. Yes, indeed. Go.
Zooparade for 10 points.
Zooparade for 10. Teams, the Federal Aviation Administration said no more can people bring ferrets or peacocks or pythons on board airplanes for emotional support. From here on out, it is only canines, meaning only what? Mackenzie?
Dogs.
Dogs. You can only bring dogs, and they have to be trained. They have to be trained because some people are spooked by dogs. They're afraid of them. Go green.
Green things for 5.
Again?
Green things for 5.
Green things for 5 points. Teams, what 140-year-old legume logo recently was killed off in a car accident on an ad just before the Super Bowl. Isabel?
Mr. Peanut.
Mr. Peanut, that's right. Poor guy. But then they brought him back during the Super Bowl. Yeah, the next commercial made us all think, oh, it's not going to be so bad. Go red.
Let's get physical for 5 points.
Physical for 5 points. Teams, this simplest of tests performed with strips of paper can determine whether something is an acid or a base. Capital Heights.
A pH test.
Give me more information. Judges? Okay. Not quite. P.E. Williams. Can you tell me the simplest of tests performed with strips of paper can determine whether something is an acid or a base? Litmus. Litmus test is what it's called. Go again. Red.
Body systems for 5 points.
Body systems for 5 points. Teams, we all have our weak points. For Achilles, it was his heel. For Samson, it was this.
His
Capital
hair.
Heights.
His hair.
His hair, that's right. When Delilah cut it off, no more smart guy, no more muscle man. Good, go, Rich.
Dateline Science for 5 points.
Dateline Science for 5 points. Teams, on February 2nd this year, it was written 02, 02, 20, 20. The same backwards as forwards. Those things that go backwards and forwards the same are known as these, Capital Heights.
Palindrome.
Yes, it's a palindrome. Absolutely right. Good answer. And that buzzer says we've come to the end of the game. And it looks like Capital Heights has done it. We'll check that score and be back with you in just a moment. Don't go away. Welcome back, everybody. Hope you enjoyed this game today. Boy, are we proud of all of our players here. These were some tough questions today, and they were able to pull these answers out of a hat somehow. Just shows you the kind of outstanding students we have here in Prince George's County. Our final tally today is P.E. Williams 165, Capital Heights 275. The team in red, let's give them a round of applause. Solomon and Isabel and Sawyer, and Ezra is over there, and Owen and Kennedy, and it's even taken a bow. I like that over there. And Daisy and Gaia, thank you for all that you've done. We're going to see you in the next round. Let's have a round of applause for the P.E. Williams team. Mackenzie and Alistair and Chase. Never has P.E. Williams come this far in the competition. You guys really, really put in a great effort today. And Olive, where's Olive? Olive, wave for us. And Joy, would you wave to us? Thank you. And your safety patrols, we know you're special folks over there. And Wendy Lamont, thank you for everything, Wendy, all these years. And Miss Quinones, thank you for helping to coach this team. And thank you for tuning in. We hope to see you next time on another edition of Science Bowl. Till then, I'm Dave Zipp. Bye-bye.